Okay, today our math lesson is going to be on simple and compound interest. And I'm just going to kind of show you what they did on Bright Thinker or Comprehend. Here they talk about it. Interest is a cost charged to borrow money or paid to invest money. So you can, whether you're borrowing money or lending money, you either give or get interest. Now there's two types of interest. There's simple interest. And simple interest is very simple to figure out. And then there is compound interest, which is all the way down here. And compound interest is a little different, a little bit harder to figure out. So here's why. But in the end, I think they're actually both easy if you can get it broke down for you. So here's the reason why. Because simple interest, you just do one math formula and you're done. But compound interest, you have to follow the formula for the first year, then take your new numbers, follow the same formula for the second year, take your new numbers and follow the same formula for the third year, always using your new numbers. So there's more steps to it. What I did, instead of giving you all these to do, which is what you would have had to do, I just broke it down into our two examples. We have here two examples, and I actually use those for your questions. So let's go ahead and get to that right away so we can review it. I also color-coded things to make it easier. So let's look at our example. We're going to use this example and we're going to figure out simple interest at the end of 3 years, and we're going to figure out compound interest at the end of 3 years. Okay, so Maurice visits a bank to borrow $4,000. The simple interest rate is 5% per year. He wants to borrow the money for 3 years, and he'll have to pay back the principal and the interest. So let's go and figure out for both of these scenarios what we're going to have. First, we're going to do simple interest. Very easy. Now, don't write anything yet because I'm going to tell you what to write. For number one, simple interest is principal times rate times time. Or you can write it like this. You can write all that out, or if you rather, you can write this. SI for simple interest equals P RT, and that means if you want you can write this. So I'm going to put that in green for you there. So do you want to write all of this? If you want to, go ahead and start writing, or if you want to just write this, it's the same thing. Simple interest equals principal times rate times time. So P is principal, R is rate, and T is time. And when you put them all together like that, then you are going to multiply. So let's take a look at this. What is the principal? We're going to use these three numbers for all of our examples. So what is the principal? Write this down. P equals 4,000. Principal equals 4,000. Rate equals 0.05. So that's taking 5% and changing it into a decimal. And time equals 3. It's 3 years. You could just put the 3 though. You don't have to stick the 3 years on if you want. Just know it in your brain that it's 3 years. Time equals, the whole thing disappeared on me, 3. Okay, so now let's do this. Simple interest equals principal, which is 4,000, times rate, which is 0.05, times 3, because it's 3 years. So the answer is 600. So for number one, you should have down either all of this, or if you didn't want to write all that, I said if you didn't want to write that, you could just write that. So at this point, I'm going to change this to yellow. Everything you see in yellow is what you should write down for number one. Okay, let's get ready to look at number two. Now, let's get ready to take a look at number two. Now that you've figured out what your interest is, we have to put it back together. This is $600, by the way, if you feel like putting that in. Now we have to put that together. At the end of 6 years, at the end of 3 years, he has to pay this $600, but he still also has to pay the $400 that he borrowed. So let's put those together in question number two. The total amount paid is the principal plus the interest. So the total amount paid is the principal plus the interest. So you can please write that for number two. And then you're going to write $4,000 plus $600 equals $4,600. So that's it. That's simple interest. That's really easy. He's going to pay $4,600. Okay, while you're writing that, I'm going to scroll a little bit. Now we're going to take a look at compound interest. Compound interest, we're going to do the same way as simple interest, but instead of figuring it out for 3 years, because up here you see we did our time as 3 years. See right there, we said our time was 3 years, and right here we multiplied by 3. We did the 0.05 times 3. Now we have to break that down every year. So instead of paying the interest at the end of 3 years, we're going to pay that every year. So let's get that figured out. Our first year is going to be the principal times the rate times the time, which we said is 1 year now. So now please write this down. I first year equals P times R times T. And then write this down. That means that I is going to be 4,000 times 0.05 times 1. And what do you get when you have 4,000 times 5 times 1? You get $200. Now remember, we're only doing 1 year. So now the year is over, and he's going to have to pay his 4,000 back plus his $200 back. So let's take a look at that. Number 4, at the end of the first year, his new principal is going to be 4,000 plus 200. So let's go down a little more. New principal is equal to 4,200. I'll tell you what. I'll put in yellow now everything that you need to write. You only need to write that. I'm sorry, can you write this too? Okay, so for number 2, you wrote down all that. For number 3, you wrote down that. And for number 4, you're going to write down that plus this. Okay, so we just figured out the first year. Now we have to go and figure out the second year. So now we're going to use our new first year principal. That's what you came up with here. Now when we do our formula next time, we're not using the 4,000. Now we're going to use the 4,200 because we just changed it. So now we are going into the second year. I actually have an error here. That should be that color. Okay, so now we're going to go into number 5, the second year. So write down for me number 5, interest second year. So write down what you see in blue, interest second year, next to number 5. After that, you're going to take your new principal and interest, our new principal and interest. I don't know why I put that all in red, because really we should have just kept it green because it's all the 4,200. Now we took that from our answer up there. Our first year we came up with 4,200 is what we're going to pay. It's our new principal and interest. Here's how we figured out our new principal and interest. Our new interest is going to be the new principal and interest times the 0.05 times the 1. And that's going to give us the answer of 210. So please write for me this. I'll make it all yellow. Okay. Or actually, since we were writing in blue on this question, I'll make it blue. There we go. So please write that down. Next, we are going to look at number 6. Now we've come up with the new interest. The new interest is $210. So our new interest being $210, we're going to, that's the one that could have been in red. So that's our new principal and interest. That's our new interest. So now we're going to take our new principal amount, the 4,200, plus the new interest, which was the $210 we got up here in red. We're going to add them together and we come up with our new principal number 2, 4,400. So you see how it was 4,000. Let me just fix this quick, please. See how it was 4,200. First it was 4,000. The first year you paid you borrowed 4,000. Then the first year you paid 4,200. Now the second year you're paying 4,400. Okay, so let's move on to going to figure out the next year. Now the next year, the third year, we need to find the new amount of interest we're going to pay. So we're going to take the new principal 2, that's our 4,410 amount. We're going to times it by our 0.05 times 1 year, and we come up with our new interest, $220.50. So write all of this down for number 7, please. So for number 6 and number 7, you're going to write down everything that you see highlighted. All the highlighted parts for 6 and 7. Okay, while you're finishing up on that, let's go to number 8. Now number 8, we want to figure out what is our new principal. Well, that's easy. We take the 4,410 and we add it to the 220. So 4,410, 4,410, it's right there. $4,410 times our new interest rate, which we have right here in gray. Our new interest rate is $220. So we take the new principal and we add it to the new interest. When you take the new principal and you add it to the new interest, you end up with a new amount, $4,630. So now we just did that 3 times, so this is the end of our third year, so that's where we stop. So you write down all of this. Everything you see highlighted, write down for number 8. I'm going to scroll to the top. So number 9 is just our very last question. What was better, simple interest or compound interest? Well, let's take a look at the two. Simple interest was very easy to figure out. It was $4,600. Compound interest was a little harder because we had to do all those steps, and it was $4,630.50. So not only is it harder to do compound interest, but you actually end up paying more money when you do it that way. Now in this case, it only costs an extra $30.50. Anyway, again, you write down what you see highlighted. So this here, and what I just added gray to, that's what you're going to write for number 9. And then all this, that's what you're going to write for number 8. So finish writing number 8, finish writing number 9, take a picture of it and send it to me right away. Since I know that this is a little more complicated, I'm not going to ask you to do it on your own, but I at least wanted you to see it. If you hand this in to me, then we can be done with interest. All right, so take that picture and send it to me right away, guys. Good job.